Greetings, photographers. Welcome. So today I'm going to show you how to do the photo editing you need to be able to do in PowerPoint. The four things I'm going to cover today are being able to crop, toning, which is called color tone or recolor here in PowerPoint, color balance, which is we're going to have that be saturation here, and white balance, which is going to be contrast here in PowerPoint. I had to make some adjustments because PowerPoint does not necessarily have the same names or capabilities as something, say, GIMP or Photoshop or even Pixlr. So these are kind of the things you're going to need to be able to do to complete objective 3 in assignment 10. Let's go ahead and get started. So I need to add my photo to the slide, right? To add a photo to the slide, I'm going to go up here to Insert. You know that you can drag and drop or copy and paste. I do like to use Insert. I do think that it works a little bit better, and I for sure get my picture, and then I don't have to open two things. I only have to open one thing, which is kind of nice. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to choose one of these photos to work with. Let's work with that one and Insert. Okay, here is my image. Now I'm going to resize it so that it fits on my slide better first. So when I resize, I'm going to use the corner handles and I'm going to hold down the Shift key. That keeps my ratio correct so that it doesn't get wider or skinnier or flatter. It doesn't skew my image at all. It keeps it exactly as it should be. So here's my image. The first thing we're going to talk about doing is how to crop an image. So let's crop this image. I want to go ahead and right-click with my mouse. And the crop button shows up at the top right here. I'm going to click on crop. Now I can also, let me go ahead and do this. I can also right-click and I can go to Format Picture. I can go to the landscape, which is where we're going to find all of our cool stuff. And I can go down here to crop as well. Here's the thing that I don't like about cropping in PowerPoint is that I cannot fix my ratio. So if I want to keep an offset of 4/3, which is what this is set up as, I can't set that in a way here to make my crop only be a 4/3 ratio. So I don't really like doing that in PowerPoint. It's a little difficult. That's why I prefer to use either GIMP or Pixlr because I can fix that ratio. The ratio is super important when you're thinking about printing your image so that it's a standard size for a printer. So I'm going to go ahead and crop. I'm going to right click and click on crop here. I'm going to use the corner handles. I can crop any kind of way I want. Again, I kind of want to try and keep that ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of set it up for the size I want and try and make it equal here and here so that I'm keeping that same ratio. Okay. Then what I can do is once I've kind of set that box, you see how it comes to a 4-way here? I can now move the image behind that box and set up my composition. Remember to keep composition in mind. There's a small little thing over here that I want to make sure that I get rid of. So I'm just going to make sure I keep that out of the box. And then I also want to make sure I'm weighting it so that my sky has the most room in the composition because I feel like that's the coolest, most important thing. Once I have this set, I'm going to just click off of it and that sets my crop. If you do your crop and you don't like it once it makes it, you are not without recourse. You can go up here and click the undo button and it will undo the last few things you did. Okay? So don't despair. There's always undo. All right, so here is, I'm going to change this here. All right, here is my image. I'm going to go ahead and make it larger because now I'm going to work on the color, the saturation, and the white balance. So I'm going to hold my Shift key down, grab my corner, and just make my image a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier to work with. And you guys can see a little bit better what's happening. So I'm going to click back over here. Oh, I want to make sure always make sure that your image that you're working with is highlighted. Okay. click over here on my landscape. Now I want to come up here. I have picture corrections and picture color. These are the two things you're going to end up working with. Okay. The second thing we're going to do is tone. So let's look at tone. I have color tone right down here. I have these presets, which are actually kind of cool. I can click on these and they actually change the temperature. So temperature meaning warm using red and yellow, or cool using things like blue and green to change the image. So if I want to maybe say go really warm, that adds a lot of red and yellow to the image. If I want to go very cool, I can come back over here. That actually takes out all of my saturation. That's not what I wanted to do. Undo. There we go. I want to come down here and I want to go cool. I can go all the way over to the other side, and that adds lots of blue and really makes it nice and cool. So it depends on what I want. I can reset back to normal here, and that's the original image. I can also do something that's called recolor, which is also a way to tone your image. And I can, it gives you lots of different options down here. This is kind of a sepia tone, a little redder. But I can just kind of play with that. What you need to do for the assignment is either choose one of these presets here off the original image, change it, or you can recolor it. Okay, those are your two options there. Once you've chosen one, I'm going to go ahead and go with this kind of warmer version. Once that's done, what I want to do is I want to save this, and you can save this image as a file from PowerPoint. I'm going to right click and go down here to Save Picture. Brings up my File Explorer. I want it to save here, but I want it to save as a JPEG. So I'm going to go ahead and change my file format here. I'm going to name it and this is going to be tone. And since I've done it before, I need to add a little quantifier down here with a 1 just to have it be the same name but different. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Okay, now what I can do is I can take this and I can undo and go back to my original image. Back to my landscape here. Now we're going to work with color balance. Color balance, as you can see, we're going to work with saturation, which is this right here. You can adjust it with the slider and go one way or the other. This one really pushes the color and makes them nice and vibrant and bold. Or you can take color away, moving it more towards black and white. And you'll remember that's how we made our images black and white, was by removing all the color saturation. Let's take a look at some of these settings. So if I go all the way over here at 0 saturation, it makes my image black and white. If I go all the way over here, that pulls up all of the color and makes it very saturated. You can oversaturate an image, and you really need to be careful of that. I think there's a major difference between here and here. Let's take a look at that. That's a little bit better, but I still think it's too strong. I'm still going to pull down a little bit. That's about right. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe about 150. And I can always go in and type in too if I want it to be a perfect 150, and that will adjust that there to that size that I want. I think I like that. All right, so I'm going to right click and save picture. Change it to a JPEG. And I can actually just go ahead and choose one of these. And then since I've already have a saturation one, I'm just going to add the 1 here to make it a little bit different of a file name, but I know I did the same thing, and click Save. All right, so we've done crop, tone, and color balance. The last thing we need to do is white balance, which in here is going to be working with the contrast. I can go back to my original image if I want to, or I can keep the saturation level. I think I'm going to keep the saturation level here and see what happens. So I'm just going to leave this like this, and I'm going to come up here to contrast. Here you can adjust both the brightness, which is how light or dark the image is. So if I go ahead and move this slider here, you'll notice my image lighten right up or get very dark, okay? We really don't want either of those. I don't really want to deal with just brightness. I like to deal with contrast. Now, contrast both lightens the lights and darkens the darks at the same time. So if I go this way, I'm increasing contrast, okay? It darkened my darks and lightened my lights. Or I can go the other way and darken my brights and lighten my darks, okay? So it just depends on what you're really looking for. I'm going to kind of push it up just a little bit. This 15% is pretty good. I can use these arrows to just go up by 1% as I go. This is 25% looks nice. Let's go ahead and keep that, but then I'm going to go ahead and undo to see the difference and then redo. You see the difference there? It's quite pronounced. Look at how beautiful it made that sky. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this just like this with the contrast set at 25%. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. I am going to save picture as. Change this to a JPEG. And then I want to save this here, and I am on number 3. I'll lose that. And save. All right, I have done all 4 things. So when you go to post to your slide in your submission PowerPoint, you want to show me your original image, so the image that came directly from your camera I want to see, and then I need to see 3 images here at least. I can tell the crop, right? I can see that the original image is a different size than these 2. It shows different things. I can see that it was cropped out here in the middle, and that's great. But then I also need to see the 3 different things that you did. I also need to see you put down which software you used to make your adjustments and then what adjustments you made. So for in here, you will have done contrast, tone, saturation for color balance, and crop. Okay? If you have any questions, please send me an email or ask them in class when you get a second. Or if you need an invite to small group, let me know. I'll be happy to have you come. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class. Bye, guys.